Dude, listen. It's not what it looks like. I never thought I'd hear those words come out of my best friend's mouth. But there he was, standing in my apartment looking guilty as hell while Jessica, my girlfriend of 3 years, sat on the edge of the bed, avoiding my gaze, my chest tightened, my mind struggling to process what I was seeing. Eric, my best friend since childhood, Jessica, the woman I thought I was going to marry, together. The silence stretched between us, thick and suffocating. I wanted to say something, anything, but my throat felt dry. Jessica finally stood up, crossing her arms. Maybe we should just talk about this like adults, she muttered, as if this was some petty argument over dinner plans. I let out a hollow laugh. Adults? My voice came out sharper than I intended. Is that what we're calling this? Eric ran a hand through his hair, shifting uncomfortably. Look, man, I swear it just happened. I stared at him, disbelief curdling into something darker. It just happened? Jessica sighed. I don't want to fight. Maybe you should take some time to cool off. That was when I realized she wasn't sorry. Neither of them were. My stomach twisted as the full weight of betrayal settled over me. This wasn't just a mistake. This was my best friend and my girlfriend deciding that I didn't matter. And for the first time in my life, I had nothing left to say. I turned around, grabbed my keys off the counter, and walked out. I didn't even slam the door. I just left. I walked for hours that night, my feet moving on autopilot while my mind spiraled into a chaotic mess of emotions, betrayal, humiliation, rage. Jessica and Eric had played me for months, maybe even longer. And yet, when I caught them, they acted like I was the unreasonable one. They weren't sorry, they were relieved. I finally stopped at a bench in an empty park. The city lights flickered in the distance, but all I could see was Jessica's face, cold, indifferent, telling me to leave like I was some unwanted guest in my own life. I pulled out my phone. Out of a pure habit, I opened our old chat, staring at her last message. It was from that morning. Love you! Can't wait for our date night! My stomach turned. Just hours before, she was lying to my face, pretending like everything was normal, all while sleeping with my best friend. I clenched my jaw and did the only thing left to do. I blocked her. And then I blocked Eric, too. They had already taken enough from me. They didn't get to take my peace of mind, too. The happily ever after. That didn't last. I crashed at my brother's place that night. He didn't ask many questions, just handed me a beer and let me sit in silence. That was the thing about real family. They didn't need an explanation to have your back. The next few weeks were rough. I barely ate. I barely slept. I went through the motions of life like a ghost, stuck between anger and heartbreak. And the worst part? They thought they won. Jessica and Eric wasted no time making their relationship public. Less than a week after I left, their pictures flooded social media. Vacations, fancy dinners, soulmate captions. I could almost hear their unspoken message. Look at us, we're happy, we don't need you. I wanted to be above it. I wanted to ignore them, but it burned. Because for a while I actually believed them. I thought maybe I was the loser in this situation. They had each other. I had nothing. Or at least that's what I thought. The comeback begins. Rock bottom is a strange place. At first it feels like you'll never get out, but eventually you get tired of drowning. And one morning I woke up and decided I was done feeling sorry for myself. I hit the gym harder than I ever had before. Not out of vanity, but because I needed an outlet for the frustration boiling inside me. Every rep, every mile on the treadmill felt like a small victory against the version of myself that Jessica and Eric had left behind. I threw myself into work, taking on new projects, networking, and climbing the ladder faster than I ever imagined. And slowly, I started living again. I reconnected with old friends, the ones I had unintentionally neglected, while prioritizing Jessica. Turns out real friends don't vanish just because your world falls apart. Within 6 months, I was in the best shape of my life, excelling at work and actually happy. Not the fake post pictures on social media to prove a point kind of happy. Real, genuine, peaceful, happy. And that's when I noticed something. While my life was getting better, theirs was falling apart. The cracks start to show. At first, it was subtle. Jessica's once overflowing Instagram posts started to slow down. The captions that used to be filled with love quotes turned into vague, passive-aggressive statements. Eric, who had always been the life of the party, was suddenly posting about people who don't appreciate what they have, and loyalty goes both ways. I wasn't an idiot. I knew exactly what was happening. Their perfect love story wasn't so perfect after all. I heard through mutual friends that Jessica and Eric fought constantly. She started complaining about his laziness. He started accusing her of being controlling. They moved in together quickly, too quickly, and with the excitement of sneaking around gone, the reality of their relationship set in. Turns out betrayal doesn't exactly build a solid foundation. Once you cheat with someone, you'll always wonder if they'll cheat on you too. And that paranoia, it ate them alive. I should have felt bad for them, but honestly, I didn't. They made their choice, and now they were living with the consequences. I never went looking for updates about Jessica and Eric, but the universe has a funny way of making sure karma is always delivered. It started subtly. Offhanded comments from mutual friends, awkward silences when their names were mentioned, and unusual social media activity. Jessica, who once flooded her Instagram with pictures of their soulmate connection, was now posting cryptic, moody quotes about trust and disappointment. Eric, who used to brag about how real love was worth the risk, had stopped posting entirely. Then one night, I was out at a bar with some coworkers when I spotted Eric sitting alone in the corner. He looked rough. Dark circles under his eyes, and untouched beer in front of him, his phone in his hand as if he was waiting for a message that would never come. And for the first time since the betrayal, I felt nothing but indifference. Not anger, not bitterness, just the satisfaction of knowing he was living the consequences of his own choices. I could have ignored him. But when he finally looked up and our eyes met, I saw it. Regret. It was written all over his face. I smirked, lifted my glass slightly in a silent toast, then turned back to my friends. Eric didn't even try to approach me, because what could he possibly say? The signs of a relationship falling apart. A few days later, I ran into an old friend from college, someone who had kept in touch with both Eric and me. "Dude, I gotta tell you, you dodged a bullet," he said, shaking his head. I raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "You know how they were acting like the perfect couple right after everything went down? Yeah, not so much anymore." I didn't respond. I didn't need to, because he was already smirking, eager to spill the tea. What goes around comes around. Apparently, things started going south a lot sooner than I expected. Eric and Jessica had moved in together quickly, assuming that because they chose each other, everything would just work out. But reality hit them fast. Jessica had expensive tastes, weekend getaways, designer handbags, fancy dinners. At first, Eric tried to keep up, but his salary didn't stretch that far. They had a fight about money in the middle of a restaurant, my friend added, shaking his head. Jessica said something like, "I left financial stability for this?" Man, it was brutal. I let out a small laugh. So she had traded up for love, but still wanted the perks of dating someone financially secure. But money wasn't their only problem. Eric, once so sure of himself, had turned into the jealous type. He started questioning Jessica's late nights out, accusing her of cheating, which, honestly, hilarious. Because if you betray someone to be with another person, what's stopping that person from betraying you the same way? The breakup that shocked no one. Then one day I got a message from another mutual friend. "Dude, did you hear? Jessica and Eric are done." I just stared at my screen, rereading the words over and over. A slow smile spread across my face. It finally happened. Eric had become possessive, constantly questioning Jessica's whereabouts. Jessica had gotten bored. Turns out sneaking around is exciting, but actually living with the person you betrayed your ex for? Not so much. She had found someone better. And just like that, Eric was the one left heartbroken. I didn't need to witness the breakup. I already knew how it played out, because some stories, they write themselves. The message I never expected. A few weeks later, I was at work when my phone buzzed. At first, I thought I was seeing things, Jessica's name. For a moment, I just stared at the screen, debating whether to open it. Curiosity got the better of me. "Hey, can we talk?" I let out a short laugh. Of course. Of course, now that she had nothing left, she was crawling back. I let the message sit there for a while before finally typing back, "Talk about what?" Her response was almost immediate. I miss you. I made a mistake." I leaned back in my chair, shaking my head. 3 years together, and this was how it ended, with a text. A part of me wanted to ask her, did you miss me when you were sleeping with my best friend? But I didn't need to, because the fact that she was reaching out already to tell me everything I needed to know. She wasn't sorry, she was just lonely. The final decision. I didn't answer right away. I let her sit with her regrets the same way I had been forced to sit with mine. But later that night, when I was lying in bed, I picked up my phone one last time. I typed out my response. Some mistakes you have to live with. Then I blocked her. For good. I had a better life to live. And for the first time in a long time, I was finally free. I stared at my phone for a long time, rereading Jessica's message. I miss you. I made a mistake. A mistake. That's what she called it. Not betrayal. Not a conscious decision to throw away the years of the love and trust. Just a mistake. I let out a laugh, shaking my head. How predictable. For a moment I considered ignoring her completely. She didn't deserve a response, but a part of me, the part that had suffered through the humiliation, the heartbreak, the sleepless nights, wanted closure. So, I replied, what exactly do you miss? I could almost imagine her hesitation as she typed back. Us. The way we used to be. I was stupid, okay? I didn't realize what I had until it was gone. I rolled my eyes. Classic. They always say that once they have nothing left. I didn't text her back right away. I let her sit in it, and apparently that drove her crazy. Over the next few days, she kept trying. Can we meet for coffee? Just to talk? And just want to explain myself, please. I know I hurt you, but people can change. I wasn't stupid. She wasn't reaching out because she had a sudden revelation about her wrongdoings. She was reaching out because she had no other options left. Eric was gone. The new guy, whoever he was, probably realized she wasn't worth the drama. And now, she wanted to crawl back to the man she had thrown away like trash. But I wasn't that man anymore. I debated whether to just block her and move on, but then I thought, why not? Why not let her sit across from me and realize that the person she once knew was gone? So I agreed to meet for coffee. Not because I wanted her back, not because I needed an apology, but because I wanted her to see how much better I was without her. When she walked in, I almost didn't recognize her. She looked different. Not physically, she was still Jessica. But there was a desperation in her eyes, a nervousness in the way she played with her sleeves. She knew. She had lost. She sat down, offering a weak smile. You look good, she said, her voice hesitant. I sipped my coffee. I know. A flicker of something crossed her face. Regret? Annoyance? Maybe both. She took a deep breath. I don't expect you to forgive me. I was hoping we could talk. Maybe be friends again. I almost laughed. Friends? The woman who betrayed me with my best friend wanted to be friends? I leaned back, tilting my head. Tell me something, Jessica. If Eric hadn't screwed you over, would you be sitting here right now? She flinched. For the first time, she had no answer, because she knew the truth. If her life had worked out the way she planned, she wouldn't have thought about me for a second. I smirked, setting my coffee down. I think we both know the answer to that. She opened her mouth as if to argue, but then sighed, shoulders slumping. I don't know what you want me to say. I shrugged. Nothing. There's nothing left to say. A long silence stretched between us. She looked down, fiddling with the napkin in her lap. I guess I just hoped. I raised an eyebrow. Hoped for what? She finally met my gaze. That maybe there was still something left between us. I studied her for a moment, and then I said the words that set me free. There is. Her eyes lit up, hopeful. But I wasn't finished. There's something left between us, Jessica, but it's not love. It's not trust. It's just the past. And that's where it belongs. Her face fell. She knew. This was goodbye. I stood up, tossing a few bills onto the table. Take care of yourself, Jessica. She stared at me, as if hoping I'd change my mind, but I didn't. I walked away. I didn't look back. And for the first time since she destroyed me, I felt completely, utterly free. I used to think betrayal was the worst thing that could ever happen to me. Losing the person I loved, and my best friend at the same time felt like a wound that would never heal. But now, standing on the other side, I see it differently. They didn't break me. They freed me. Jessica and Eric thought they had won. They thought they were walking away into some perfect love story, while I was left behind to pick up the pieces. But real life doesn't work like that. What starts with betrayal never ends in happiness. After Jessica left me, she jumped from relationship to relationship, always chasing something better, something new. She never found it. The last thing I heard, she had moved to a different city, trying to start over again, alone. Eric wasn't doing any better. Once the excitement of sneaking around with Jessica was gone, so was she. And now, he was just another guy regretting the one decision that cost him everything. People say, everything happens for a reason. I used to roll my eyes at that. But if Jessica had never betrayed me, I might have wasted years with someone who never truly valued me. I would have stayed in a relationship that was built on comfort, not love. So if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is actually the best thing that could have happened. You just don't see it at the time. Betrayal hurts, but it also reveals the truth. It strips away illusions and leaves you with what's real. And what's real is this. The people who truly love you won't put you in a position to question that love. The people who deserve a place in your life won't force you to beg for their loyalty. Jessica and Eric got exactly what they deserved. Not because I sought revenge, but because life has a way of balancing itself out. I didn't need to destroy them. They did that all on their own. And me, I moved on. I built something better. I became someone better. And in the end, I didn't need them. They needed me. That's the thing about karma. It doesn't always come when you want it to, but when it does, it never misses. So let me ask you, if someone betrayed you like they betrayed me, would you take them back? Or would you let karma handle it for you?